What's up, y'all? How we feeling? What's happening? All right, let's get into the good stuff. Happy March, y'all. Happy March. We are in the last month of the quarter. It's important. These are important times. So before we dive into the charts and the markets, kind of want to give you guys a quick message this morning on recommitting. You know, you're 2 months into the year. If you're watching this here, obviously you care enough to keep improving your skills. And I think as you're going at the day today, whether it's your trading, if you have work or your business after this, you're going to go hit the gym, going to go just work on some passion projects, some hobbies. Just recommit to the highest version of yourself. Right? Recommit to that end goal that you have, whether it's for some sort of fulfillment, some sort of experiences, freedom. Maybe it's just getting out of debt. Whatever it is, whatever you want to impress upon your imagination, but kind of just realign with it, recommit to it. It doesn't have to be anything too extraneous, too long. It's just kind of like, all right, let's be conscious of what we're working towards, and let's get some more of that. Yeah. So, guys, super stoked for this month. It's gonna be an amazing month. A lot of volatility is to be expected throughout this entire week, especially this New York Open right now. It's about to be a good one. Week opened already pretty chaotic, so I'm gonna dive into that here. But yeah, we have NFP at the end of this week as well, which we'll be live for. So yeah, super grateful to have this space here, the environment, to be able to walk you guys through the trades, through the market. You guys get to see me perform in real time every morning as well. So I appreciate you all for the accountability and taking advantage of the resources that we have in our community as well. Tons of free stuff. This is tonight. The Fast Track program begins. So if you don't know anything about it, I'll drop a link in the description. But that's for new traders that are pretty new, beginners, or people that have been around for a while that feel like you're still pretty new. So if you're experienced, advanced, probably most of you that are on here, honestly, it's not even for you. But anyways, make sure you check that out. We do start that, and there is, as of right now, 2 spots open left. So just putting that out there. But let's dive into it, guys. Let's dive into it. Let's make some magic happen today here with the markets. Let's kick this first trading day of the month off right. For those of you that are starting new challenges, you're starting new evaluations, whether it's with Tradetopia, Lucid, TopStep, or whoever. Remember, trade your game, trade your system. You don't have to don't think about what you want to accomplish today. Just think about who you need to be, what you need to do. That's it. Everything else will come, whether it happens today, tomorrow, or later this week. Everything else will come. Same thing. If you're funded, if you are getting ready for a payout, the process is what lures in the payout. The process, the quality of your decisions is what attracts the quality of that payout. Okay? So don't trade for the payout. Trade at your highest level. Lose like a champion. When you lose a trade, remember, it's just like losing a possession. It's just like losing for a few minutes. It's not that the game is over. So let's stay at it, guys. All right. So with that being said, appreciate you all here. You guys have been awesome in the community. Community's bumping, feedback's being given. It's just some good stuff happening in here. Okay, with that being said, man, we've had some really, really cool reactions out of the market so far. Let me kind of clean this up a little bit. Look at how we've reacted out of each key zone that I marked here with Dow. So if you've been following along, and man, if you traded London session, honestly, I'm jealous. London session gave that final reaction out of the zone with Dow. This is the trade that I've been waiting for. I didn't think we would get it during London session, but this is that swing trade that I wanted. And not only did this happen for Dow, but we also got it for S&P and for NASDAQ. So each setup that we were looking for played out during London. So I'm jealous for sure. Anyone that trades London, I was snoring. But let's look at these silver alerts. I'm getting silver alerts right now, and I want to make sure I can see what's happening. So silver dumping, absolutely dumping at the moment. Gold also just bleeding out. With that being said, gold is not dropping anywhere near as aggressively as silver. So I think taking buys on silver is a bit more of it's less of a winning probability. So I do like buys with silver around here. Down here, a sub 86.72. However, since gold is not dropping that aggressively, I would much rather take a gold buy somewhere. So maybe we just wait for a shakeout setup, let the markets dump, just like absorb some of that, come back up again, and then maybe we can get like a shakeout trade instead. But the other alternative is, let's say we have gold taking out Tokyo lows in this gap, maybe playing into this structure. And if at the same time silver is playing into this zone, then we might have something here. So I'll come back down to this. If we keep dumping, we'll go check that out. But let's go to the indices because I know markets are about to open. Things are going to be pretty hectic. What am I looking for here? What am I looking to trade? Well, obviously we had some mass liquidations. So, you guys can see this here. Let me just clear this out. Over here. 2 minutes away from New York Open. So we had a reaction here. We had a reaction here. Mitigation, beautiful mitigation setups. Each one responding really, really well. So we clear these lows, right? We clear these intentional specific lows, and then we come right back in. So we can tell there's less demand for the market below these levels. Clears it, comes back. Now we've been building up, moving sideways for about 5 hours. That's with Dow and with NQ. However, as you're looking at this at the moment, looking at price action right now, I kind of want to take whatever is slower to get down to this level. So we have a last push down that, really starts happening over here. So right around here is where I want some buys. Here we go. Right there. So I'm going to go dual screen. And we're going to have Dow Jones YM on the left. And then we'll have NQ on the right here. And we'll read, we'll play off of price action here. We'll see how it starts to work its way down, what ends up giving us the better setup. But these are my shakeout entry. This is basically, we're buying the break and retest sellers. So that's what we're basically doing here. We're just buying off of those break and retest sellers. And we got about 20 seconds until that really starts to go down. So more than likely, we're looking at something like this. And then at least I think we can go for these London, trading into London over here. Something like this. We got some of this action going on. And we're off. New York Open begins. So let's see how this moves. The other side of the trade is, you see, we just had London highs swept. Market comes in. So we might short out of here, whether it's Dow or NQ. NQ looks like it's going up a little bit slower. So you see how it takes that out. We don't quite take out Tokyo highs. Those are way, way higher. So shorting out of the zone might be the move for some of you. It looks like NQ is starting to push down maybe a little bit quicker. So look at using a fib level. You can kind of gauge this a bit better. There you go. All right, here's a little current structure. NQ pushing up a little slower. And we have S&P somewhere in the middle. S&P actually pushing the slowest. So this takes out the highs. It does break below, so it fails to making lower lows. So demand isn't quite there. Right here we have Dow still building liquidity. Very interesting. So yeah, the downside with these kind of setups is like if this wouldn't have broken or stayed here, I kind of would be feeling enticed to shorting. This kind of looks like a shakeout, liquidation, and then selling out of here. But the low came right to make equal low, so I'm not in love with shorting here. I could see it, but it's not, you know, a strong confirmation for me. So if I was going to sell something like this, it would be max half risk. But honestly, I'm thinking like I just prefer waiting around here. Maybe even less, like a quarter risk trade, like something light. NQ took out the highs now, so if this was going to play out, it's still giving us lower highs. So honestly, I don't think it's the worst trade in the world. I'm going to take a below a half risk on this, and I'm going to catch a short here because this is making equal highs. So not even half risk I'm taking here. I'm going with less than that. All right. If it plays out, awesome. If it doesn't, then so be it. So even less than half risk for me, I'm very much okay with that. Let's see what we got here. Can we get a little something going on? All right. So first targets really would be these equal lows. I just like the divergence right now between this. Is why I'm like feeling better about this trade overall. It's just the divergence is good. And then but yeah, let's see if that's enough. Is that going to be enough? Meanwhile, you have NASDAQ that traded up into the gap. So this actually rebalanced pretty nicely. And so we might have NQ look to start to sell from over here now. So not that I'm going to take a NASDAQ sell. But now there's motive for NQ to drop as well. So that's all I'm saying. So pretty volatile so far. Losing here would be like a 0.3 something R, 0.35 R loss. Is that a door? Yep. Did you hear that? So yeah, this is where we're at, guys. So yeah, pretty open to what's going on over here. Tokyo highs for Dow really not as attractive as they are for NQ. Same thing though, like you see the market open, it trades up to this zone. It does fill some of the gap before dropping as well for Tokyo. So yeah, it clears it, works its way down. Here's that last push that we get, like starting like right over here. So something similar. If this doesn't go through, I think I'm just gonna wait for a different trade because we had the push to the upside here with Dow before everything comes trading back down to here. So maybe Dow ends up wanting to short a little bit later on. And then where are we right now with? Here we go. S&P meanwhile, it's still respecting this area that it can mitigate. So S&P, I could see shorting as well. There's definitely motive and balances being filled. The buy, the smart money buy here can start to sell off. Everything else, I'm in. Other than that, I feel like if anything, then Dow would maybe look to short right up here. Here you had during Tokyo session, one last move up before it drops. But if you're not seeing these, if you don't like these type of selling opportunities, then honestly, just chill out, wait it out. I'm I'm pretty detached. Here we go. So that loss was in play now. Small loss for me. I'm very much cool with it. By no means was this really a high risk trade or anything. This is a very small trade. Kind of almost like, wouldn't say experimental, but it was definitely, I knew there was vulnerabilities to it. It wasn't an A+ setup, so I'm not putting my money at risk completely. But now we're seeing Dow trade into here. Right here we had another push. Here you also have, let's zoom out a little bit. So here's where we start to get into, let's look at NQ, right? So we got both setting up. I think both, this gives us a good idea on the market. But yeah, here's where we had a nice push up. Now we're sitting in imbalance. So I honestly do think that we're in selling zones over here one more time, and we can continue to work our way further down. At least taking out these lows would be a good trade. Let's see if we can get up a little bit more, and you know, is this going to be enough to sell? Here's the thing: if you want to wait, and if you might be okay with kind of missing out on the idea or having the highest win probability, you could wait for NQ to see if NQ wants to take out the Tokyo high. And then that way, this setup here where we had the market pump, fill some of this gap, and then drop, you can wait and see where this takes us. Because this, in reality, this massive move up, which ends up, you know, filling the gap, liquidating sellers on the open, this, I think, is a better trade overall. So if you're like not really seeing what I'm seeing, don't feel like you need to take anything. I'm looking to basically short before the market takes out, like basically mitigate the open of the week on Dow while seeing if NQ is going to want to push and take out Tokyo highs. Like I mentioned, there's a chance that doesn't happen. It doesn't need to happen. NQ doesn't need to take out these Tokyo highs for the market to reverse out of the zone, which I think that's what we're starting to see. All right, we're starting to see Dow, you know, take out like a smart money sells. Looks like they might be coming into the market before NQ is making its move. I'm gonna wait until that, if that happens, just so that we can have like a high probability short and then see where we can play into. With that being said, what does that mean about the buys that we had in here earlier? We were looking for shakeout buys where this was attracting retail sellers, and those retail sellers were swept. Right? These retail sellers were not taken out. You know, breaking retail sellers here, taken out. So we kind of lose the entire shakeout opportunity. It kind of changed now, because here, I guess maybe the entry was earlier in the day when we had the market, at least with NQ, kind of broke these lows and then started to rally here. So about an hour ago. So maybe this was the shakeout. Once we broke below this and started to make the move. So that might be the case. Another thing, in case we did miss the boat here with this initial sell, there's a possibility that we can still see a break and retest. So retail buyers getting a break and retest here. So maybe we'll see it, right? Maybe we can see the market kind of lure in buyers, lure in some retail buys, and then we can kind of get in on a move like this. All right, so maybe this is the case. We'll stay tuned here. Stay on the lookout for that kind of trading. Let's see. See what happens there. But as of now, we've started to reject some of this last push up. We're starting to see, right, the market want to stay trading lower. New York open here. Down here, it was trading within consolidation. So you have plenty of liquidity, plenty of targets for the day today. So the initial pump with New York open has come into play. And now what you have is, after we saw the liquidation of London highs, we're trading back up to here. Again, now we got a pretty big sell-off. So this is over 100 points. The last push up here was same thing, about 100 points. So I'm not looking to force a sell in here. Need further context to be able to take a position here. We've dropped down. We're holding it down. Like NQ took out a whole bunch of liquidity. Dow Jones took out a whole bunch of liquidity, and now we're starting to see, okay, is this going to be just a break and retest that lures in buyers, and then we can sell to take out those retail buyers? Are we getting enough proof of that? So, for example, Dow drops, right? Pumps, drops in here, but it really just drops for like 2-3 minutes, and then now we're right back up again. So are we seeing a lack of demand at these prices? Not really. Not really. I'm not really seeing that, oh, no one wants to be buying at this price. It's like, yeah, like there's definitely buyers there right now. So I'm not so like, yeah, I got to sell. You don't want to get too caught up in your original bias, like, oh, it's got to go down. It's got to go down. There's definitely a possibility in which it does not go down. Got lemon seed. So you don't get too caught up in what you want to see. That you want to be right. You need the proof. Need the proof. At least I do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, nah, bro, I got this. Don't think. You're thinking too much, bro. So I'm gonna follow my confirmations. Right now, we're kind of chopping back and forth over here after the market broke above a lot of this liquidity, and then it's been just respecting support that it's seen from over here in this area. So NQ holding it down, chilling. Dow spiking up, coming back down, spiking up, coming back down. So this does look like it just keeps losing momentum every time it tries to pump higher. So it goes up, comes down, goes up, comes back down. NQ has a similar setup. But the only thing that's making this a bit more difficult, at least for me, to pull the trigger is that it's just we've only been trading here for a few minutes. It's been 5 minutes or so. So I'd say it's a little premeditated to look for the short, considering that we have a pretty big gap anyways. So like NQ has traded into this gap, and so has Dow. But obviously there's more that can be rebalanced over here. So I'm not in a rush. Like I'm not tripping. Like if the market wants to go higher, fill this gap, cool. Because look at how the market ended things out on. I want you guys to look at how the market kind of wrapped up on Friday. Friday, we get one last push, like right around here, and then the market drops. Does the same thing with Dow. Does one last push, like let's just say like right here, and then the market dropped. So Like why wouldn't the market want to push up to here? And if we're looking at it from this perspective, I'd say that the odds are that we get Tokyo highs swept. Now, any seller from at any point during the last, let's say, 15 hours or so, 16 hours or so, all of them now are liquid. All of Dow's sellers are, in drawdown for sure at this point. All of Dow sellers are in drawdown. Only difference now is S&P is still within the zone, and NQ is still within the zone. So, what do you guys think? Is this enough to be like, okay, this can be an NQ shakeout? Market traded down here. It took the highs, did the good old break and retest here for a few minutes. Is this enough proof that the market's luring in buyers and is going to want to dump out of here? What do you think? Now you've had Dow take out Tokyo highs. It could happen. I could see a shakeout setup here. It's not a ton of proof, but it's possible. So then the question becomes, do you have a spectrum for trades that are good, that aren't A plus, but there is evidence? Was it half risk, one quarter of your normal risk, 3/4 of your normal risk? What does it take, or what do you need? Or do you only if everything is perfectly matched to your confirmations, are you going to take this? Or is there some sort of flexibility to your confirmations? The markets are never perfect, but is this enough proof? That's really the question at stake. And psychologically also, you have to know yourself, guys. Know thyself. Are you going to lose the plot just because maybe you don't like the feeling of loss? So even if it's the smallest loss, you're just like, oh no, like I shouldn't do this, or like you start to take things a bit more personal. So these are the questions I have for you guys. These are things I want you to consider. Like I don't like being the trader that streams and just like buy now, sell now, and just super hype and like, this is not me. And also I just don't think it's good for traders at all. I don't think it's valuable by any means. So that's just not who I am. Plus, like, my goal here with all of you always is to build badass independent thinkers who can follow their own system, who are building conviction with you're building conviction with yourself. And also for like legal compliance purposes, I'm not here to tell you what to do because I'm just some random dude on the internet who's been trading for 10 years. That's it. So yeah, we got news in 10 minutes. I'm cool with just like waiting for these higher zones. That's cool with me. Maybe Dow now wants to give us a cool trade here. Like, look at how we took out Tokyo highs and now it's starting to drop a little bit. So let's say maybe Dow works its way down. We can get a little shakeout and wait for a sell. There's no rush, guys. This is going to be a week full of opportunities and taking trades that are like, meh, I just don't think are really required. I like my chances with this Dow sell earlier. I kind of like my chances there, so I'm not even mad about that. And it was not even a half R risk. It was a very small risk. So I'm just chilling there. Nice. Good stuff. If you guys are already making some gains, love it. Hell yeah. Slept through the Dow trade. Cool. Look, we're seeing NQ about to take out Tokyo highs. So then that leaves us with this trade at the up top over here. From kind of what I'm picking up, I think this is going to be the short that I'm looking for. And then it comes down to this. Like, Which one makes more sense for you? Right now, if we're looking at from those highs of this range to here, you're noticing NQ is pushing up a bit faster, right? 71% pullback, almost a 78% pullback, while Dow isn't even at a 71 yet. So it looks like the short on Dow is probably the best case scenario here, up in this range over here. So I like the sells around this 886 level. I think we have a good shot at shorting in here. And then this, you have options. You can either trade back into Tokyo highs or trade to fill some of this New York open, which I like. I like that idea better. So that's what I'm thinking of here, is just kind of trading up into this range on the 15-minute here. Okay. So, yeah, that's what we're looking like here right now. Let's see. Right now, we're starting to see that Tokyo get swept. Markets starting to work its way down here, at least for Dow, right? Meanwhile, NQ still hasn't quite swept Tokyo highs with NASDAQ yet. But shakeouts now also has potential. We're seeing it. Clears the highs. Market's starting to work its way down here. Okay, let's see how this develops. Meanwhile, all right, while we're working on that, let's go look at gold. Yeah? Gold and silver. What do we want? Want to check out some metals, guys? So let's check out some metals over here. Start trading higher. I'm going to have some alerts set. Okay. So how are you guys feeling about gold, silver? What are our thoughts on this? So gold dumps, trades near Tokyo lows. Obviously, we broke above the high here on the 15-minute. So we dumped down. We broke above Tokyo highs during London. Market traded up here for an hour and a half, came back up again. This is not really the best structure, at least for bullish structure. Honestly, not really that great. Silver. Yeah, silver is just dumping. Huge drop. Played into this imbalance. So this liquidated tons of Thursday, like tons of Asian session buyers liquidated, Tokyo lows, New York lows from Friday, swept. So silver just did a massive, massive liquidity sweep. Like massive. Whereas Dow or gold, not so much. Gold, not really doing not really falling at the same pace. So I think there's still motive. There's a lot of motive for gold to go lower. So I'm not looking to get into any sort of metals buys unless the game really changed. Like unless we have a very conscious shift of liquidity. And right now, I think gold needs to take out Tokyo lows before I can consider any sort of buys. Like silver, I understand silver because it just took out tons of liquidity, came up really quickly. So, I mean, it moved sideways for like 6 minutes. Maybe some of you pull the trigger on silver buys for like a shakeout or something. I think it was a little... Gold was showing signs that it can go lower. So I wouldn't have taken this full risk by any means. There was only 6 minutes of sideways movement before it dumped again. But I can see why some of you may have taken silver. I can definitely see why. So, I don't think it's a terrible trade or anything. Just not my trade right now. And then I know, guys, I'm about to get into it, but oil, we got to take a look at oil. Like, oil is going to be a massive player all week. I like to go where the volatility's at. So let's go talk about oil. Oil at this point, we saw basically a 10.8 point pump on the open. $8 is what I'm saying. Like, massive move. Massive. A move like this, what did this go and do? Obviously this liquidates this liquidates all of last week. This liquidates all of last month. This liquidates everything. We're trading. If you want to look at the continuous chart here, like you're trading into these areas over here. These are, fantastic mitigation zones. Back over at 75. So everything just gets gutted. Tons of liquidity swept. All of these sellers throughout these times that were, like, let's say, using this as the swing high from July 2025, just done. Everyone gets obliterated here. So now this is going to define if oil is going to find bullish structure up here or not. Because now the daily structure is shifted. This is now cementing itself as bullish on the higher time frames or not. So oil right now is in kind of that season, if you will. So let's go back to the actual chart here. So what are some of the decisions that should be made here? Well, we have the Tokyo low here. So getting under buys below the week, the open of the week, can always be great, especially even if you're not really catching the absolute low, but you're letting the market show you its sign. We can see it liquidate, come back in. So we could get maybe a shakeout play out of here, something like this, and then we can kind of catch the continuation. That would be awesome. The other thing too is, so this gaps up, the market starts to drop in here. So here we have the break. We have a gap fill. The market comes in here, starting to kind of move sideways. So, we could have been looking for sells over here, but that doesn't seem to be the case right now. So I'm just going to set an alert to see if we get below the open of the week. And then, the open of the week, actually, let me rephrase. The open of the week was here. Drops down, comes back in. Then we start to fill a good amount of the gap. So, we do find a rebalance here, playing back into previous levels of structure. So, at this point, this sets the Tokyo lows. And now, not enough for me to start buying within this range. So, if this wants to poke below one more time and then immediately lose that demand, then I like the opportunity. So, I think if we can break below 69 and then get back up above 70s, then we can find a good opportunity. Now, with news coming in here, guys, let's just take a quick updated look at indices and kind of see what type of price action is forming here. We did take out Tokyo highs. We've been just choppy on the way down, so I'm not really looking to sell this yet. NQ still also pretty choppy. Not looking to sell that yet either. So I'm going to wait on shorting anything still. Yeah, just going to keep this. Yeah, I'm going to have a look at it from this point of view here. So here comes the news. Volatility based off of ISM. What's the market want to do? Is clearing Tokyo highs enough for the market to dump? Or is this going to kind of give us enough volatility to push towards this range? Let's see what we get. What do we get? Catching up here in the chat. Was looking for the shakeout sell all morning. Okay. Yeah. For what? Oil or for in oil sells? Sick. Hell yeah. In gold buys. TradingView is lagging really bad for you? Really? Oh, interesting. I haven't noticed anything, but yeah, it's just me. And Q's starting to dump before breaking Tokyo high, so it looks like it's holding out just enough. I want you guys to think about when the market starts to move. Let's say you had a bias where you're like, oh, I kind of think it's going to go down. All right, let's just say that's the case. Like, I think indices are going to drop right now. And then it starts to move without you. How often are you chasing that trade? How often are you following that move? You're like, you all of a sudden you're in it and you're like, oh shit. Like, all right, I guess I'm in this thing. How often does that happen to you? And why? You have to ask yourself, why? What triggers the impulse? So if you find yourself chasing, like if you find yourself getting into trades because you think it's gonna, like you don't have your motive, you don't actually have a reason, like your system, whatever gives you the green light to be in the market consistently, a proven system, one with an edge that should be profitable. If you're taking trades that doesn't fit that, because you kind of are like, well, I think this could go down, and then all of a sudden you're in that trade, you're not supposed to be. So that's the fear of missing out. If that's winning, if that is triggering behaviors for you, go think. You need to get to the root of that. Why is it that you can't not be in the market right now? What's in your ear? What part of you? What part of your ego is doing the most? Because you're choosing to listen. You're choosing for a version of you to trigger that behavior. Why? Why? What's the preference? All right, guys. So take a look at something to think about. Take a look at how Dow is starting to just fly. Right? Dow is starting to rip over here. Doing a good job getting into this area, almost at a 786. So it looks like Dow's actually a bit more bullish now than NQ over here. So I do still like the short, but and let me see. I'm going to delete this here. I might be more inclined to selling NASDAQ. For a nice little trade right there. Traded this back towards New York Open. 3.5R. So we're now above the open of the week, above the Tokyo highs. So we're, if anything, at this point, this is the high of the week that we're seeing formed at the moment. And Q finally taking out Tokyo highs. Great. You're seeing Dow above a 786 and Q. As soon as it took Tokyo highs, I was like, nope. I'm going right back down. All right. Say my drawings are tripping and stuff. Really? Okay. Interesting. I wonder why mine are okay. I sent to gold trading school. Okay. Yeah. So you shouldn't. It looks like you're all right over there. So hopefully you guys figure out what's going on with TradingView. I'm not really seeing any issues for whatever reason. I'm just, I guess, just favored today. All right, so yeah, this is leaning more and more like it's going to be the NQ short. So I'm okay with selling around here. I'm looking back. We've seen the market reject around 24,955 plenty of times. We've seen the market, just getting into this structure, I'm okay with. Like into the zone where we've seen some support, I'm cool with like taking my position here. So I'm going to set this up as a sell limit. Get filled nicely over here. Looking at 3 micros on NQ for a little under $500 risk for this trade. Dow is still pushing higher while NQ it kind of just pokes above, drops, pokes above, drops. So it's kind of struggling a little bit to climb. That's what I want. I want this to like struggle its way into this short. Just like it clearly, you're seeing the demand for these prices are like sellers are trying to, like, they're easily on the other side of this trade. We're now almost at an 886 with Dow, while NQ is still below a 786. So this is the kind of price action that I like to see. The looks like the shadow has like the top half of here, and you only got the light at the bottom. It looks kind of weird. Hey guys, what's up? So yeah, we're waiting. I'm waiting on this. Waiting on that. So yeah, I mean, markets looks like they like the war so far. They like what's happening here. Percentage-wise, changing with stocks. So while we're just kind of letting this thing do its thing, my entry is at 24,942. So in case you guys are wondering there, that's where I have mine. That's where my limit is. So I'm about less than 40 points out from this triggering over here. Yeah, not too far. Stocks wise, Nvidia pulling up, Netflix still pushing a little bit. Stocks pretty mellow. Berkshire Hathaway, one of the bigger losers. Lulu back in the 170s. Good prices for pickups. Celsius dropped. Solar bullish. Guys, indices are getting closer. So let me go put our focus back over here. So now we have Dow. Let me delete this. Now we have Dow just about at the 886. So pulling back into the zone, playing into the structure already. So clearly this is already in a mitigation zone. I'm not going to sell Dow just because it's pushing so bullish. Meanwhile, you have S&P as well, getting into the gap, getting into this structure. So you can see S&P, ES, making some moves over here. Interesting. Look at as soon as Dow got into the zone, started to reject pretty nicely. Okay. Coinbase with a really good bounce today. Over in the 180s now. For those of you that have MSTR, also seeing that push to the upside. Okay, cool. And then looking at cryptos are, taking a pretty good jump right now. So a lot of these altcoins are pushing. You have Sol around 87, Bitcoin climbing its way up. That sell, did anyone take the sell I shared with you guys last week? I called this short out here on Wednesday. I don't know if anyone took this, but this thing dumped from 69,500 all the way down to 63. Epic sell-off. And then we had the mitigation play from over here as well. And just pushing. So, yeah. Right now, it just looks like if you zoom out and you're taking a look at this, demand below 65,000 is just not holding up for crypto, for Bitcoin specifically. So continuations here looking more and more strong, and I will not be surprised if we get 75K Bitcoin or even maybe 80,000 Bitcoin this week. Just an FYI. Okay, so we're seeing NASDAQ kind of fighting its way up. Dow does a good job of mitigating over here. I think it actually already, he moved 100 and something, 20 points. Dow is starting to drop pretty decent. about 60. So it'd have to drop a bit more for that to be fully mitigated. But yeah, so price action is starting to shift a little bit. I hate when markets do this, but yeah, look, everything's starting to push up, but at what pace? Interesting. Okay. All right. Either way, I still like my odds here with NQ. NQ is now in the mitigation zone. So I'd say from where we're at right now, we could start to sell off. It's possible this could miss my entry. I would appreciate it if it didn't. I would be great if it didn't. So I'm going to keep it there. I'm not going to move it or anything like that. I think we can get up there. So right now we're at about like a 80-something% pullback. You can see Dow is just at about an 886 here. And right now we just got, check this out. We just got, what was this? Like 2 points away or a point away of it from entry. We got Dow pushing to 886. Dow is pushing higher, and Q is starting to lose some steam. Look at this. Ain't no way, no how. Get us in there. Now that's a point, right? So, I mean, obviously, if you guys are ever in the mindset of like, you know what, man, let me get in there. Like, let me just get in this thing. Then, you guys can take your trade. But all right, now I got triggered in. We are still below an 886 here, while Dow is above an 886. So divergence. These are correlating, right? These move together. So I like what we have with this. And then I'm looking to take this all the way back to basically New York Open. I want to see how we play out of this. But in order to go break even, all I got to see is about a 90-point drop at NQ. And so I'm just taking that last push up as the reversal that I need to see. So if I show you guys kind of what I'm looking at here. My focus is on this. Here's where you see the market take out. Let me just go to one chart here so we get a nice full screen. So my focus is entirely on, where are we? On over here. So if we look back to where the market started to push, I mean, in reality, it looks like we started to get our move from over here, maybe from 24,950.75. So it's about a 72-point move. If you want to measure from down here, then that's okay too. But just to be safe, about a 72-point sell. So if we get something like that, then yeah, basically at least I want to see the market drop like 70 plus points. Then I'll move my stops, I'll reduce risk or move to break even, whatever price action is going to show us here. So that's my point of view for the time being. Dow also holding up pretty decent. Okay, sweet. So obviously you guys, you're trading whatever you have a preference with. For me, it looked like NQ could be the better short, the better seller. So I'm going to stick with that. For now, if we sell from here and we kind of trade to like right over here, then I would tighten up. So you're seeing I got 3 micros open across all accounts. We're moving okay. Yeah, we're moving okay. You got a version of trendline liquidity here as well right now. Dow is still kind of making higher highs while NQ is still trading below. That's a good sign with current price action. Yeah, that's a good sign. What are you guys doing? Do you guys taking buy or sells? Are you guys just like, you know what? I don't really see the trade. How are you positioning yourself with this one? What's good in the chat? What y'all got for me? Good morning. What's up, Patrick? Patrick, you excited for the fast track? I know you just got and registered. Drevis, you too. What's up, Titus? Joe, what's good? Harshi, Amy, how you doing? What's up, Evan? Good morning. Brandon, Seth. Absolutely. It's making a great one. Gabriel, what's happening, bro? Kanzala, Edgar, Caius, Corey. 1 mid in 8 minutes today. 1 mile. Haven't done that in a very long time. Going for a 6-minute mile next month. You got it, man. Hell yeah, get it done. What's good, Jalaya, Steffi? What's happening? What's up, Marty? Daniel Millar is with us today. Michael, Brandon, Luis, Carlos, Karen, Vision GK, Greg. Me aprovecho con el cafecito. Igle, saludos. Steph. Hope you're excited for the fast track as well. Steve, one of our newest syndicate members. Welcome, welcome. Growth Unity Circle, Sophia. DeAndre. It took NQ over London session. The buys. Oh, DeAndre, man, you're crushing it, bro. I love it. Saludos, Kevin. Saludos, saludos. What's up, Brandon? Was looking for a shakeout sell. Okay. All right. Getting everyone caught up in there. Ready for it. Let's go. Yeah, for those of you that are, more curious about the fast track, just shoot Nancy or myself a question. Took NQ. I took the sell with you in there. Cool. Half hour now. Half hour to higher zone. Cool. Ready to get after it. What's up, Austin? In there. Oh, Nance is in there. Let's go. Excited. Janko in there. Okay. So we're starting to see a decent drop so far. All right. Got a little momentum going our way. Okay, so we've dropped now about 40 points from our area. Great. I want us to drop maybe another 30 before I start to go risk-free here. NASDAQ in 24,880 in venta. 880. Right over here right now. Are you trading, Brian? ¿Estás operando futuros o CFDs? Porque los precios van a ser diferentes. All right, cool. So we're active. We're in this. We're seeing this one run. So let's see if we can get a good meltdown here. The first area where I think there's a pretty good chance this gets to is just at least into this imbalance. So even if the market doesn't, let's say, go all the way into our favor over here, I do think we can get at least into here and then be able to go break even on this trade. So I do feel like we can have that as a high probability. So we'll see. Okay, a little bit of a retracement happening across the board with indices. It's not bad. All right, so while the markets are whatever, while this trade goes on, we don't have to stare at it, right? We can go look at other things, go review the rest of the rest of the markets. We've seen Bitcoin clear out some liquidity right now. Is Bitcoin in a selling zone? Bitcoin, not really. I'd say Bitcoin would have to. trade a little bit higher, but it's pretty close. Yes, if you guys are, so you see where Bitcoin pumped before it dumped on Wednesday here, end of New York session. So right there, you have that last pump before it all came tumbling down. There's a little order block right there. I don't know if we're going to trade out of that or above that, but yeah, with that being said, Bitcoin right now is getting into that zone. I would just want to see or be mindful of the alts, like are alts pushing with a higher level of aggression right now or not. So let's see. But meanwhile, we have NQ here that's dropped now 67 and a half points. So we're basically at that 70 point range that we were looking at before, which would be like, I think enough for to consider moving stops. Like we're seeing quite a bit of movement. So yeah, just about 70 point rejection at this point, at this moment. And if we compare price action, we're getting a better drop out of NQ over Dow and S&P. And those look like they have very little. All right, Trading View, I guess now it finally happened, right? Trading View was like, all right, let me mess you up now. It's your turn. So here we go. Okay, here we go. So at this point, guys, I am going to reduce my risk here. I don't think there's really any reason to have any risk at play anymore. So I'm going to go and move that. Okay, so now should be sitting at right around a 1R, maybe a little bit under a 1R. Wow, as soon as it did that, this literally just pumped. Huge pump. As soon as it dropped like that, let's see if we can hold off on this. Like, chill out, bro. You know, come on, give us some love. So, I mean, is it going to hold up is the question. Is the trade going to hold up? We got a pretty good rejection. As soon as it came down to here, it was like immediately bounced. So the whole zone, again, was about 90 points if we're going to take it from the absolute low. However, when I was reviewing the way the market moved from over here, to me, it just looked like the actual, impulse to the upside starts a little bit higher. That's why I was like, you know what? I think we just need a 70-something point move rather than from over here. So it felt like this is really where things kicked off. So anyways, I'm okay with being at risk-free at already. Like that's fine with me. And then if you look at what we can do is if we want to double down or take another perspective, when Dow was making its move over here as well. So if you look at Dow Jones, right, Dow started to pump. Really wasn't even from down here. It was like from right here. Here was the last move higher. This is about 90 points. And Dow has dropped 130. Even if you want to measure just this last structure, it was 120. So, I mean, we've seen the mitigation completely with Dow Jones as well. So I do think the markets are mitigated. What kind of is, I would say, a little bit annoying is that now Dow has better price action. NQ is trading up here right now while Dow is holding a lower level. So I think we might honestly get tagged out of NQ, and there's a chance that this thing keeps going, just to be honest with you guys. So if you wanted to give yourself maybe a little bit more wiggle room, just because now price action is kind of flip-flopping a little bit, and, risk taking a small loss, then, like that's, I don't think it's the worst case in the world. It's just up to personal preference at this point. But yeah, this is what we're seeing right now. Looks like we might just hang on in there. Dow just chilling, not really going up or down. It's just there. While NQ spiked up a little bit, pushing right back down. So let's see here. NQ seems to be just a bit more volatile in this area. So let's see if this is enough for the market to survive or not. See what I mean? Like Dow isn't really pushing upwards at all, while NQ is getting closer and closer. So if you're okay with, let's say, having a small loss just because you're kind of reading price action, maybe it's wants to spike up one last time. But if not, and you're committed, you know what, I'm risk-free, I like price action is good enough, then just let it ride. Just let the markets ride. Let it do its thing. If we end up breaking below again right now and this just stays within and we're all good, obviously you can see I'm just keeping mine here like a point or two or whatever lower than the entry and profit. But if we break below here again, I am going to start tightening up my stop again. Okay. Excuse me. So what I wanted to check was ETH. Where is ETH? So ETH hasn't broken above Saturday's highs even, while Bitcoin has. So ETH not as bullish. So I wouldn't go ahead and short any crypto yet, I don't think. Nah, I'm gonna wait that out. Not looking for shorts on Bitcoin. I know that there's like kind of a setup there, but I'm gonna chill. Yeah, I'm gonna chill on that. Okay, just wanted to clarify that. Okay, NQ coming back down. Okay. ES actually broke the low. Okay. All right, looks like NQ is like, no. I'm the bear, trust. Bro, can y'all hear me yet or no? Is mic working? Yeah? Okay. This thing is wilding out. Alright, we're going lower, breaking below. We like to see it. So you can hold the lows. Now we have Dow pushing towards this imbalance. Let's see if we can get to here. This would be the next area where market could get a bounce. So you have Dow with imbalance. I mean, it's two things. Either it's just going to clear this liquidity, it gets pushed right back up, or it's going to want to follow and rebalance this entire thing. S&P here has a little dump with that ISM news and then the reversal potential. So S&P price action is very similar to NASDAQ's. So we got a quick sweep of some of this liquidity post ISM, and then looks like it dropped just to come back up again. So this is like typically the signs that we're seeing here are that this is more of a liquidity capture rather than a continuation. At least that's like the first impression. So here's what that does initially. But with Dow needing to fill more of this imbalance, I feel like we're going to go lower, though. I think we're going to keep pushing. Yeah, let's see Dow push lower, and let's have NQ like carry NASDAQ down with it. And this is how you can use, remember, this is how you're using correlations to help you kind of decide, all right, should I take my profits? Should I keep letting my trade run? You know, what's the better move? What's the more profitable move? All right. Yeah, I think we're going to keep pushing down. And then now the second area of where the market would find, let's say, a potential reversal would be here where Dow meets the bounce, and then I would say where we would take out 24,800, like right around here. So I do think we can get another 60-point drop, at least. Should give us at least another R. And then with that next push, then you can start, you know, really tightening up your stops here. Like putting stops deeper into profits, trailing all that. So I'm going to start giving myself a little bit more here. Many of you are now up 80 points, maybe more, 85 points in profit. All right, let me know if you guys are passing your evals, if you're, you know, getting payout qualified with this. All right, that's cool. It's whatever. It doesn't, at this point, which just hit that alert. Played right, tapped right into structure. So there's a chance that you might get a bounce out of here. No audio at all anymore? Yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna bring this here. All right. Yeah, so we're getting mics off the Osmo, which is fine. So yeah, right now, let's see. It bounce isn't really too strong there, so I think we're gonna keep pushing. Yeah, like I think we're gonna keep pushing. And then with Dow, you have Dow's price action goes right from here. So Dow opened, rebalanced, and just been pretty solid, pretty fair. Unfortunately, the way I'm seeing it, we're now trading at 9, that ISM, basically a minute after ISM opened. Whereas, I mean, I guess no, it's the same. I mean, NQ is there. It's just not as intensely dropping like the rest is. Like Dow clearly has just done a really good job to sell off from here, and so has S&P, and so has NQ, but it's much more choppy. So getting our profits into this area is going to require a lot more noise. You know, clearly this is not pulling back anywhere near as deeply. So I think as long as you're okay with kind of trailing your stops not as tightly, like instead of having a stop here, you're kind of just treading along with it, then I think you can make a pretty good 2R, 3R trade out of this. But yeah, the reversals on Dow are pretty minimal, and so that's the thing. If Dow wants to give you a big reversal, it might just be too much for, you know, how you're trailing and your NQ sell. So the real winner, I think the best scenario ended up becoming still shorting Dow, which was our original plan, but it got a little bullish towards the end, and there was a deeper pullback, so I felt like we're better off just shorting NQ. And so, I mean, I'm always going to keep looking to understand better and better why some are selling off more, or what's going to give us the most volatility in our direction. Always going to keep looking to understand, find it, whether it's based off of price action, maybe it's volume that I got to just dive into a bit more. But I mean, either way, this system has been profitable. So not the end of the world, and we just got to keep building better case studies for it. That's it. That's what I love about trading. You have evidence that works. You don't mess with it. You keep doing it. And then once you have overwhelming evidence that something else can add to your game, cool. Then you use that. Then you follow along with that. In the meantime, let's see if we can have Dow start to break through some of this structure. Here's the real proof, right? So look at this, guys. I want you to zoom out now a little bit more. Look at the difference in the market here. So look at how quickly we worked our way up, and then look at how we worked our way back down. So now you're seeing Dow is trading off the Tokyo highs. So the move up here, the 1 hour candle, at the moment, obviously you can see as quickly as it went up, it came right back down. So it seems like the demand for buyers up here, not really there. If you take a look at S&P, this is trading below those Tokyo highs, right? And looking at NQ, where we're trading below Tokyo highs as well. So in reality, yes, it's been it's been dropping a bit more with NQ, but the volatility has just been greater with Dow. So at this point, honestly, what still could be an opportunity, which might get in the way of our NQ trade, to be honest, is that Dow may end up setting up for a shakeout. So we might see Dow want to lure in some retail buyers here. So we could see something like this. Which is what I was saying, like why NQ could suffer here. But you might see something like this, and then the market sells off again. But if Dow does this move, NQ might not survive that. So we might end up making a higher high or something, right? This may end up just not having enough wiggle room to hold that, and then you end up getting stop profited out. But you could end up still getting another short. So this is why these things are possible. It's not that they have to happen, right? Dow could just keep going down from here, but that's also a possibility. So yeah, this is just me giving you guys some context. Look at how we're not anywhere above this. Like this 930 central candle, way below it, whereas NQ is trading above this now. However, here's the thing. This has been squeezing. It seems like NQ feels like it's been squeezing quite a bit here. So we might just get the price action reversal from here. So anyways, I mean, stops are in profit, a small amount, nothing crazy. I'm okay with that. I think I'm going to prefer to just, if I'm going to get stop profited out of this, that's cool. Then I'll just look to take my sell with Dow later. So right now we got the break above. We worked our way down. As soon as we got back to the break and retest, well, now we're starting to see the retest in effect. So I would want to see the market maybe come back down one more time before it makes the next leg up. That would be nice. Let's see it. How do you guys feel managing this trade, watching it go up and down, seeing your profit drawdown? You got really close to passing account or to getting payout, and now it's, no, I gave back my profits. What do I do? Do I get in again? what's on your mind? How are you guys maneuvering through this so far? If YM actually makes some decent demand for a shakeout, then I think our trade is cooked. It's possible. So, I mean, it seems like it. Like right now, I'm maybe a couple ticks away from getting stop profited. I'm like 10 points less. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, that's cool. So now the decision is whether the short is good enough. You know, whether there's enough price action to meet the standards to sell somewhere in here, in this high. You know, where would that begin? You start seeing the pump from up here, one last leg up here. Price action's pretty choppy over here. So is there enough motive to catch a sell in here and make the risk reward worth it? What do you guys think? So I want to see if this is going to do something. I kind of want to see these highs taken out again. I want to see NQ take out its highs. Yeah, that's, I think, NQ or even S&P. And then pull a short out of there. Just think what I'm going to look at there. So, okay, cool. We can go look back at that. What I want to take a look at right now, real quick. Let's run through the majors, see where we're at here. What? Australian buys? Dude, where was my alert for this? Crazy. Crazy. Anyone take these buys on Australian? I marked this up last week. I talked about this. Oh, you know what? I would have just been sad anyways, because this missed my first trade by how much? Half of, bro. Really? Half? That's crazy work. Look at this. Look at this thing. Yo. Hey. What kind of... The audacity. Alright, so, you know, it's cool. I didn't miss it. It just, I wasn't invited to the party yet. But that would have been a nice 2.5 R. Actually, I would have filled the gap, so I would have gone for this. 3 and change. Oof. Diabolical work right there. Come on, man. Gotta be kidding me. Alright, cool. So, wasn't invited to that party. What I'm curious about is, I know the yen had an idea too. Yen mitigated. Alright, cool. And then the pound. I had something with the pound. Okay, so you know what's interesting is the pound here is setting up for like a pretty cool shakeout trade. So pound works its way down, takes out tons of movement. Wasn't looking to buy this because other things were dropping more, so this wasn't qualified. But yeah, so the pound takes out tons of liquidity and then eats it all back up. So now I do believe that we have pretty good opportunities for buying GBP. Yeah, for sure. So I like pound buys. I would want the market to, so here is the move, right? This is where you see liquidity capture, so massive sell-off with the pound over here. Works its way down, cool. Takes out a whole bunch of retail buys. So really, I like the buys anywhere below like this. So like anywhere over here. Got a little order block, and then you have an imbalance. I think it's like a personal choice on where you want to position yourself here. But about, I'd say a little less than 40 pip stop here. And then the thing is, I don't know if we're going to get enough volatility during the day, like during one trading day. So, man, I would like to swing this. So I'll do this. I'll swing on my live, but yeah, I think I like the pound shakeout idea, and I'm gonna be down to swing this thing here for a bit. Trade back into at least this imbalance over here. A little four and change. I like the idea. All right, so here's the setup for today. A little pound trade, swing trade. March 2nd. It's my dad's birthday. All right. Swing, shake out, buy. Cha-ching. Oh, it's the pound. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, yes. Thank you. Is it cooled down now? Yeah, it's cooled down. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, fast is over. Guys, 5-day fast complete. 120 hours done. Not a single calorie during that time. Honestly, it was amazing. It was a great experience. I think the more you do it, the easier it gets, to be honest. So highly recommend it for anybody that wants to do physical, spiritual reset internally, like whether it's like spiritually internally or physically internally. It's an incredible experience. Do some research before you do it, but I think it will make you a better trader. I do think it'll make you a better trader because you learn how to deal with your desires, deal with your impulses. You learn how to have deeper conversations with yourself. So, all right, so 2 contracts on 6B is what's at play here. Just FYI. Let me go take a look at here indices. We just had NQ take out those highs. I kind of want to see where that put Dow at. So Dow traded up to here, the previous levels of support. Is it going to sell at it right here? Let's see, did S&P take out the highs too? S&P still short as well. Traded in up here really nicely. Ooh, that's kind of good. Price action is decent there. I want a better risk reward, so I do want this to go higher. That might just be missing out on the move entirely, which is kind of a bummer. Yeah, we'll just let the market do its thing. All right, let me double check my 6B idea here. All right, so my entry is at 1.3352 on 6B. $33.52. So it's like 25 away. All right. Quick little recap here with, let's see, indices still chilling. I'm gonna set an alert on S&P if it takes out this high too. And we'll see what kind of flip-flop we're seeing. So, we saw the break, the retest, the market, climbed up a bit, and it's kind of just trading sideways. So, I might do a half risk sell on Dow if we end up getting up high and see where we go from there. And then quick update on gold. Gold is just choppy, so it's consolidation, squeezing, luring in retail sellers, luring in enticing, incentivizing buyers as well for gold. Silver here. So the break and retest energy pretty strong here as well. So I wonder if we get another big dump before it pushes. I do think these trades are a bit more vulnerable because I think buying silver is a bit more vulnerable because these Tokyo lows haven't been swept. So just keep your eyes on the market. Oil here, cleared London lows. That's about it. Let's see. I don't know if this is still the right contract for peso. I haven't looked at it in a minute. So peso, where's the peso at? Peso shorts. Okay, doing its thing. Back and forth. Gap already rebalanced. Shorted out of the gap. Okay, I kind of see a setup here. London highs left a decent setup on peso. I know we got some peso sellers in here, some peso traders. So I think if we keep making lower lows, this sell might be a good idea later. Someone come back to this, remind me about this later. Bitcoin still pushing, cool. I figured. ETH still has to go clear those highs, trading to that Wednesday's level. So no sells for me on Bitcoin until this gets to where it needs to get to. Then that's about it. Okay. Word. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna look at the chat real quick and then I'll wrap up there. Congrats on the fast. Have I ever tried a talking fast? Are you telling me to shut up? It was in a book I read on how to hustle and win. Nah, I've never read the book and I've never heard of a talking fast. Still NYM, so I was looking to take London highs. FTMO versus Tradetopia. I mean, it's the same thing. It's similar. They're just different. It's just one is CFDs, one's futures. Whichever you prefer. I think there's both pros and cons. I mean, it's just preference, really. Do you want to spend more time with CFDs or do you want to spend more time with futures? Yeah. Doing both CFDs and futures, in my at least experience, like doing both at the same time are challenging for managing purposes. Like it's pretty difficult. What were you telling yourself when you were hungry? Question the hunger. Well, you're really not hungry. It's like there's like the desire for food and hunger. Your body has all of it, what it needs. So like, okay, we'll break it down. Guys, by the way, this is it for trading. I'm done right now. So like, I'm just going to talk about the fasting stuff if you guys are interested. But if you don't care about that, then you can leave. You can go. You're not going to miss out on anything else. Yeah, regarding hunger. So I mean, what's hunger? That's your body signaling you that it wants something. It wants nutrients. It wants energy. Here's something that, think about this for a second. How well do you think you know how to read what your body is telling you? Like what if what you think is your body signaling you hunger is actually something else? So your body actually gets dehydrated before it gets hungry. So a lot of times the signal that you are feeling is actually dehydration. If you're parched, you've been dehydrated. So if you're like, man, like I'm kind of thirsty, that means like, bro, you've been dehydrated for actually a minute now, for hours. So one is that. Two, your body has stores, like massive stores. So the thing is, when you go past 16 hours, that's when your body starts to go and it's like, oh, okay, here's the fat. Let me use this as the energy. Before that, it's using glucose. So it's just using the sugars in your body basically to power you through. So, whether it's day 3, 4, 5, and even beyond that, like people go way beyond that, it already has the energy there. So it's like, okay, physically, it's not like I need something. It's like people think like, oh, you need protein all the time so that you can just survive. Like, that's not even the case. Funny enough, you actually start to activate like a certain HGH in your body after a few days. Like your body actually it starts to be more efficient, more powerful without food. Because you got to think back, guys, the majority of human existence is like hunting season. So it would be days without food. Your body is way more intelligent. Your body is not as soft as we've been conditioned to be right now. Remember, breakfast was created by corporations so that they could feed you more. Like that's what it is. That's all it is. Like, it wasn't like you needed it. It's like, oh my God, I can't survive without breakfast. Bitch, you can. Trust me, you can. You're just soft. That's it. Just being real, like, it's the truth. You might not be preparing yourself, so like you just might be eating poorly, so it feels like that's the case. Sure. So yeah, what conversations? So it's like, all right, am I hungry or am I bored? That's a big one. Am I hungry or am I just out of habit looking for food right now? So that's, I think, one of the bigger ones. Like, I think the funny thing for me, I only really had like cravings, like, oh man, like I kind of go for something, and was only rationalizing things actually at night. It was more so like 7 p.m., 9 p.m. I was like, man, I've already been fasting for like 3 days, like, I mean, I could end this now. It would still be a win in my book. And then sadly for me, I'm just not, I already decided I was going to do 5 days. So I'm like, oh, God damn it. Like, I got to do the 5 days. That was the point. If I quit now, then it's because I'm listening to not the version of who I know I can be. I'm listening to the version that just accepts rationalization, that accepts excuses. So I guess almost being like you versus the desired you, and what's the actual, is it a reason or is it an excuse? So in my opinion, a reason is something backed by reason, something that is logical, it makes sense. Let's say it was a health condition. Okay, cool. An excuse is like, it's how you rationalize, being able to choose the instant gratification, being able to choose something like that. So that's one thing. Also, when you hydrate, like, it kind of takes care of things. So like salt and water, like lemon water and salt was really useful. And then I would drink coffee. So I drink coffee, and then we would add chaga, so like this mushroom powder thing, also no calories. And then that was like, I would trick that into being my dessert. So I was like, here's my dessert. So that's what kind of made it pretty useful. But way easier. The talking fast is a way to get to know yourself by being with your thoughts. Alone, it's definitely one of the harder ones. Oh yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool for sure. Funny enough, I know I said the trading stuff was over. So now, interestingly enough, Dow is pushing higher. So let me reshare. I'm gonna end this stream here in a second, but Dow is now starting to push higher, and meanwhile, S&P and NQ are kind of chilling. So NQ takes this out, rebalances, climbs, chills. So now that this took out this high, let's see, is it worth shorting at some point here? Took out this high. I could see the short coming from somewhere over here. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I'm reading back here. I'm talking gold. What is this alert? Ah, there it is. It's dumping. Okay, now gold clearing Tokyo lows. Silver starting to trade lower. Cool. Silver not quite there yet, so maybe gold keeps dumping a bit more. Still got New York lows to clear out over here. The gap's filling though. Just started a 36-hour fast this morning. Solid. That's done. Crush that. I think I have trouble knowing the difference. Yeah, Austin. Yeah, for sure, Austin. Breakfast is just propaganda. Absolutely. I'm rolling. It's the craving to eat and the reward is yummy food. It's body habits, kind of like atomic habits. Absolutely. I do be doing a lot of bored big backing. When are you breaking your fast? I broke my fast last night. And if you are going to break your fast, especially if it's an extended fast, ease into it. Definitely don't go big backing. Don't just have a massive meal right away. Like drop your like eat. Like I had, for example, I had some tomato soup and a little bit of tofu. So it was like just a couple hundred calories, and then a couple hours later, then I ate a bit more. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Big backing is just such a funny phrase, like an idea. But okay, guys. Have an amazing rest of your day. Much love to all of you. If you're not in our community, then here, check it out. And then for those of you, you have like, I don't know, 6 hours or so, 8 hours or so to make a decision if you're going to do the fast track. It's awesome. Trust me. There's 2 spots left, maybe 1. I think maybe unless someone got started during the stream. But anyways, much love, y'all. Peace out.